made it through hunger, you made it through pain, you made it through drought and you made it through rain. You rose over conflict, you've conquered your shame. You've done it before and you'll do it again.
You made it through hunger, you made it through pain, yeah. You made it through drought and you made it through rain. You rose over conflict, you conquered your shame.
Yeah.
You've done it before and you'll do it again.
There is nothing that can ever take your place, 'cause you made it here. You are one of us, this global human race. You made it here.
There is nothing that can ever take your place,
'Cause you made it here. You are one of us, this global human race. You made it here.
you made it through darkness, you made it through mine.
Yeah.
You dealt with the hardest of times. You're finding your joy now and learning to shine. Enjoying your voice and reclaiming your time.
Again, you
Made it through dark, made up your mind. You dealt with the hardest of times.
You're
Finding your joy
now.
learning to shine.
Enjoying
your voice and
reclaiming your time. There is nothing that can ever take your place.
you made it here.
You are one of us, this global human race.
You made it
Yeah.
here.
There is nothing that can ever take your place.
You made it here.
You are one of us, this global human race.
You made it If you know that you made it, come on, stand up and say it. If you know that you made it, don't let them hold you back any longer. If you know that you made it, come on, stand up and say it.
Don't let them hold you back any longer.
If you know that you made it,
Come on, say it.
come on, stand up and say it. If you know that you made it,
Don't let them hold you back any longer. 'Cause there is nothing that can ever take your place.
'cause you made it here.
You are one of us, this global human race.
You made it
Oh, there's nothing that could ever take your place. Is anybody glad that you made it? Ooh, oh, yeah.
I was living my life in the servitude of misunderstandings of people I loved. Giving it all, it was never enough. Because of the fall, I could never get up. I moved on from their misunderstandings. I am no longer standing under them. I was drowning, now I swim. 'Cause I found the strength within. I don't need your absent friend. 'Cause I got this, yeah. 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 This is holy ground. Depraved and deprived, I was living your lies, lost in a moment with truth sacrificed. Voices aplenty that never seen right, visions, distractions that all.
Happy Sunday, everyone, and welcome to Sunday Sessions. I'm your host, Darante LaMar, and I'm honored to be here welcoming you to a new year, a new month, and a new series. If you're new here, we are Bridge City, a forward-thinking, people-centric community of individuals committed to connecting better, building better, and living better. Wherever you are in the world or wherever you are on your journey, we're creating space and opportunity for you to connect and build with others while growing at your own pace and in your own direction. We're not waiting on the future to imagine better community. We're practicing it now. We're building bridges to better understanding, deeper empathy, and more honest connection so people everywhere can reclaim their authentic existence and contribute to the world on their own terms. Every Sunday, we gather to celebrate our humanity while engaging conversations that strengthen our capacity to be the bridges to better. We're currently in our Life's Big Questions series, inspired by one of our campus clubs. And all month long, we're tackling the big questions about life, fear, identity, and certainty. What better way to kick off the new year than to face those hard questions with new frameworks of freedom and the language of liberation? If you've been looking for community where people are the point, you found it. We are connected by our shared humanity, regardless of beliefs, creeds, or backgrounds. We are a global community of people, no labels needed. So whether this is your first time here or you've been part of the bridge for a while, welcome in. My hope is that something in this weekend's experience provides connection for your life, clarity for your mind, and comfort for your authentic self. Before we get into today's conversation, let's check into Bridge City News.
What's up, Bridge City? Happy Sunday to you, or whatever day it is, wherever you are on this floating space rock. This is Zernial Shackleford, head of production, otherwise known as your friendly neighborhood Z-Man. And by the way, every now and then, I'm sure you guys have probably heard Darante mention that name, Zernial. One time he said that, and somebody was like, what did he just say? What was that? And they thought like maybe something was wrong and they would miss something. What did I miss? I think they actually said that. What did I miss? This is the that. Thank you very much. So I'm here to tell you about all the stuff that's moving and shaking in Bridge City community. Here's this week's news. First up, if you are in the LA or Atlanta area, it's time to build a bridge in your city. We're actively looking for leaders, hosts, and team members who are ready to be the bridge by providing a better way to connect, build, and live for your local community. That means meeting and working with the local team to host weekly Sunday session watch parties in alignment with the global campus as you introduce others to the mission of Bridge City and the heart of your team. Beyond that, as your community grows, the sky's the limit. The global team will be with you every step of the way, providing support for Sundays, training for teams, templates for systems, and even licensing for leaders as you navigate launching your campus. If you're ready for a challenge that'll create change in your city, this opportunity is perfect for you. Introduce yourself on the global campus, let us know which city you're in, and how you're ready to help. That introduction is your entry point. And by the way, the LA crew is already meeting monthly for local mixers and virtual roundtables, so now is the perfect time to join the crew. Want to host a watch party? Regardless of where you are in the world, if you want to bring Bridge City to your home or city with a Sunday session watch party, we'd love to support you. If you have space, a screen, and a few people in mind to invite, you're a perfect candidate to put your city on the map. We can help with planning, promotion, and everything in between. Just introduce yourself on the global campus and send a message to our head of community, the one and only Ashley Wilmore. So tonight is our first movie night of 2026, and we are showing Dogma. There's still time to RSVP, 8 p.m. Central. Come on and join us for a really good time watching this amazing movie. And also, while you're at it, mark your calendars for the first Sunday in February when we'll be watching Idiocracy. What started as absurd comedy has quietly aged into social commentary. It's funny, Until It's Familiar, a film about anti-intellectualism, corporate overreach, and leadership by spectacle, feels a little too close to home in a world where policy can shift culture overnight. Come laugh, come think, come sit with the uncomfortable question of how close ridiculous is to real. And most importantly, come breathe and enjoy the chaos together. RSVP for both films is open. Welcome newcomers! If you're new here and wondering how to get connected with our community, follow the link on the screen to meet us on our global campus. It's a virtual space where our members from around the planet gather to connect to the mission and to each other. There are clubs, events, and activities that you can plug into and start building new friendships while helping community matter. The most important first step is introducing yourself. It helps us to get to know you, and it helps you feel like you're entering a real community, not a comment section. So as soon as you get in, head to the new member introduction area, say hello, and tell them that your friendly neighborhood Z-Man sent you. Get involved in building the weekend experience. Now you've been hanging around for a while and you're ready to help shape the Sunday experience. Here are the clubs where you can plug in. Weekend Warriors, helping out on the stage or in the chat on Sundays. Comms Club, helping out with community emails and social media content. And the Production Club, that's what we're doing right here. That's what I do, helping with the production of the Sunday sessions. These teams turn ideas into reality, and we'd love to see more of you step into the mix. Every first Tuesday of the month is Giving Tuesday at Bridge City. It's a monthly reminder to our members, partners, and supporters that it's truly your generosity that allows the Bridge to reach further and support more. We currently don't require dues, fees, or tithes from our members because we prefer a model where giving is authentic and has no strings attached. The weekly and major support of those who can is greatly appreciated and always needed. But our monthly Giving Tuesdays is an opportunity for us to all participate in supporting this bridge for tomorrow and the years to come. All right, y'all, that's all I got. This is a great opportunity to share the stream before the conversation starts. And if you haven't already, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get into today's conversation. Take it away, Darante.
Wow. First of all, man, Happy New Year, everybody, right? Happy New Year. Welcome to 12,026 if you're going by the Holocene calendar, the human era calendar. Welcome to 2026 if you're just going by the common era calendar. Welcome all in. Can I just take a moment before we actually jump into everything we're supposed to jump into today and just kind of brag on the I am so amazed at what we've been able to do here, at how our team is growing, at the things that we're getting ready to accomplish. Man, like Zernial gets these done in advance, which is just absolutely beautiful. And he'll send them to us, and I'll try to only watch like the first 5 seconds, just to make sure it's good. And it's just like, oh yeah, it's good. Number one, because I trust him. He's our head of production. He's been a patron supporter for damn near 2 years now. And has just been a really good friend. But so I'll just look at the first 5 seconds and be like, oh, that's good, because I really enjoy being in the live moment, kind of seeing this stuff unfold as you all see it. And man, I was just blown away today watching the introduction and the news. I am so proud of our team, proud of Zernial, proud of Ashley, proud of Bob, who we have helping out with us backstage today as a part of kind of Weekend Warriors and production team. So man, major shout out to Bob Swanson, who also was the first one to really kick off a watch party, which was just absolutely beautiful. So there's just so many things to be excited about. Are y'all excited for the new year? I'm excited. I hope y'all are excited. I'm standing up today, and I've made a few commitments to myself. One is that I'm gonna start trying to stand up for our Sunday sessions, and that's not about me trying to be fancy. It's really about me trying to be mindful that I sit down every day, all day. And so I really do need some time where I'm standing up and moving around a lot. And as a former preacher, Sunday was some of the best exercise I got was on Sunday mornings. And so I'm trying to make sure I get back into my Sunday exercise routine. Major shout out to the Wellness Club, for those of you who are working on your wellness. And y'all know my story. I used to be 580 pounds. And for those of you that are part of our global campus, you know that in November, I had somewhat of a health scare. I live with hypertensive crisis. So at any moment, my blood pressure is already high just from a baseline, but it can spike, and that can be incredibly problematic. So they put me on some new meds, and within a week I had gained like 20 pounds, and another week and a half I had gained 40 pounds. And I was like, oh no, I'm not doing that. So I had to recalibrate my meds and get my exercise routine back together. But again, major shout out to the wellness club there. So I'm standing up on Sundays. That's one of the commitments I've made, just to make sure that I'm getting some wellness in my life, which is why I can't wait till we're actually meeting locally, till we have our local campuses, because Sundays should be some of the days you get the best exercise of your life, right? Okay, y'all, we're starting a new series today called Life's Big Questions, and I am so excited about this conversation. This is a conversation that came up. Like, I put this on the calendar. This was not on my calendar. I had another conversation series for January, but I put this on our calendar because as we're building our global campus, man, I'm paying attention to our community members and the things that they're talking about and the things that mean something to them. And a prevalent question that came up was, how do we answer these big questions without a book, without a Bible, without a doctrine, without a dogma, without an authority figure? And so we put together a club that's led, it's led in our community by Princess. They put together a club, Life's Big Questions. And there's just a slew of questions on there that you can go on there on the campus and just kind of talk with other members through, and maybe even share how you're answering those questions. But that's where we're going to be for the entire month of January. So if it's been a struggle for you, this is the time to get in. I got one more thing I want to say before I jump into my actual notes for today. This weekend, man, was somewhat disorienting for me. And I just wanted to share this, just kind of get it off of me before we jump into my notes. But this weekend was somewhat disorienting for me because I discovered, which I shouldn't be shocked by at this moment, but I discovered that there was, some new scandal, some new drama within the, sometimes I want to say the secular community, but it's really more so just the atheist YouTube space. But there was some new drama, and y'all know I've already kind of separated myself from much of that as much as possible. I'm an extreme pragmatist, and so I'm often looking at, okay, what's the utility of anything that I'm engaged in, right? So I'd already separated from quite a bit of that, but I did see some things this weekend that were absolutely heartbreaking, disorienting, kind of made it a little hard for me to focus on work, which is why, like, I think I got the video link up for this up late, man, because I was just kind of, let me use an old word, I was grieved just to see the way that people were attacking each other, and then the way some people were being slandered and people's personal business being put out, and it's all because, a group of people share the same label, and all of a sudden they feel like they own your life enough to just say whatever. And so it was just absolutely heartbreaking, but a strong reminder that building community is an intentional effort, right? Building community has to be more than just what you're against. It has to be more than just what you want to stop. It has to be what you want to protect. It has to be what you want to preserve. It has to be what you want to promote. That's how you build community. And so if you're ever wondering, like, damn, why is Darante so adamant about building community, and why is he talking about stuff on Sundays that's not necessarily activism? You know why? Because I'm trying to help us get to a place where we have people that are healthier dealing with their everyday life. Y'all hear me out there? I'm trying to make sure that people are okay every day, not just when they're attached to the agendas that we want them to attach to. And that's what Bridge City kind of exists for. Yes, are a lot of people in Bridge City atheists and agnostics and non-believers? Sure. But at Bridge City, we are not defined by our labels. We're not defined by what we don't believe. We don't gather around our non-belief. We're not connected because we don't believe. No, we're connected because we do believe in humanity. We're connected because we believe in promoting each other. We're connected because we believe in preserving and promoting each other. We're connected not because of shared beliefs, not because of shared principles, not because of shared ideologies. We're connected because of shared humanity. Everything else is many times an unnecessary label. So if for those of you who may be anywhere in your lives, I just want to open this conversation up with that if you're human, if you're a person, there's space for you here. I don't care what your identifier is. I don't care what your persuasion is. I don't care whether you are a believer or non-believer. Everybody believes in some type of bullshit. I don't care where you fall on that spectrum. Bridge City doesn't exist to protect labels. We exist to protect people, and I hope that means something for somebody. Okay, are y'all ready to jump into today's conversation? I just had to do that. I had to do that. I had to do this talk. All right, so I got this new setup because I told y'all I'm standing up. That's one of my commitments for 12,026 or 2026, however you want to say it. Another one of my commitments is for Sundays. I've already started doing this on Monday through Fridays, but on Monday through Fridays, I am pretty much scripted. I write my notes out full, and I don't really deviate that much. So it's easier for me to keep this like commitment that I'm about to try to make now. But for our Sunday sessions, I am going to try to trim my cussing just a little bit. Now, this isn't because anybody has said anything, which people do say things, but they say typically things on my other videos. They don't mess with my Sunday sessions. But it's just a personal commitment. I'm gonna try to trim. Now, that don't mean I ain't gonna cuss. I'm a cusser, goddammit. So you're gonna hear what you're gonna hear. But I am gonna try to trim my cussing because as we continue to grow, as we continue to scale, I want us to be able to reach further. We're the bridge for a reason. I want us to be able to reach further. And in this sense, man, like we're reaching, I know I got to keep the spice, right? We're reaching at this point, reaching families and stuff like that. We're still going to do some adults only conversation and things. But one of the things that I've been vocal about, and now I kind of got to practice what I preach, is that within this space, I think one of the fronts that we're losing on is that we don't do enough stuff that is family friendly, family centric stuff like that. And that can span the gamut, and Sundays are for people, which means for families too. Jalapeno. All right, so let's jump into this, man. I'm so excited about this. Okay. Fear can be overwhelming, and that's where we're starting at today. Fear can be overwhelming. It can be immobilizing, and even destabilizing, but it's completely natural. And I think that's what makes fear uncomfortable at times, is that it can be all of these negative things while also being natural. Ain't that crazy how something can be natural and still be negative? Ain't that insane? Isn't it wild? Just sit with that for a moment. Pause and meditate how something can be absolutely negative and still absolutely natural. How you can be having an absolutely natural experience and yet that experience still be negative. Damn, that's good. It's as ancient as we are and grips us as early as birth. Whether substantiated or unsubstantiated, we've all been touched by fear. The monsters under the bed, the shadows in the window, the stranger walking in the alley. For many of us, the police car in the rear view. Okay. Fear permeates every realm of experience, from personal safety to religion to philosophy to politics. And I don't think that will necessarily ever change because it exists. Fear does, as a two-edged sword. Okay. Fear exists as a two-edged sword. Yes, fear can be immobilizing, right? But I'd be a fool and I'd be being dishonest if I didn't also admit that fear can also be mobilizing. Yes, fear has been used to destabilize, and yet it has also been used, when you study political history, to stabilize. It's not something that we can just easily dismiss, but we do have to deal with it because healthy fear helps us survive. Okay. I got to say that again. I should have put it on the screens for the notes, but I didn't. Y'all blame me for it. I didn't put it there. But watch it. Healthy fear helps us survive. Unhealthy fear helps us suffer. Okay. Now, I don't know if anybody's ever said that like that to you. I don't know if that's worthy of a hell yeah, but can I get a hell yeah for that? No. Healthy fear helps me survive. Unhealthy fear keeps me suffering. Unhealthy fear helps me suffer. It adds additional anxiety to my life, unnecessary trepidation to my life. Healthy fear helps me survive, but unchecked fear, unhealthy fear, that thing is going to cause me to suffer. And that's such a weird double-edged sword because most of us have lived a life where fear is just fear. Damn, this is good. This is good already. I'm just in an introduction, jalapeno. But most of us have lived life where fear is just fear. But I had to start wrestling with no. There are kinds of fear. There is substantiated fear, and there is unsubstantiated fear. There is fear based on anticipation, and then there is fear based on awareness. There is fear based on what I anticipate, what I expect, and then there is fear based on what I actually am aware of. And most of us have not been given the tools to learn how to distinguish between the two. Am I afraid because I know something is going to happen? Or am I afraid because I followed a slippery slope down a rabbit hole of ignorance or nonsense or foolishness or bias or discrimination or hatred? And I often remind people, this ain't in my notes, but this is a good place to drop this, that there really is no such thing as hatred. Hatred is actually not an emotion. Hatred is nothing more than the mask that fear wears. So when you see hatred, what you're seeing is fear wrapped in insecurity. Damn, I am preaching better than y'all are responding. So we understand that fear not only helps us survive, but it also can cause us to suffer. Okay, so once you know that reality, it's your responsibility. Oh, see, that's one thing about reality. What reality will do to you, is reality will give you responsibility. I am teaching better than y'all. Religion will give you excuses. Religion will give you excuses. Reality will give you responsibility. It'll give you something to do. It'll give you something to work on. It will give you something to check yourself on. And so the responsibility of understanding that, yes, fear can help me survive, but it can also help me suffer. That means it becomes my responsibility to check my fear. Damn, I feel like I'm saving some relationships right now because some of you keep sabotaging relationships you're in because you don't know how to check your fear. You don't realize that your fear is your responsibility. You got to check your stuff. Well, they might be cheating on me. Well, you need to figure out what's going on. Y'all don't want to talk to me. No, you got to check your fear. Damn, I didn't mean to go there. See, watch this. Okay, let me soften this up with a story. Reality gives you responsibility. Let me soften this up with a story because I'm not even in my main notes yet. But it's the first weekend of the year. By the way, have you shared this stream yet? Because you need to make sure if there's anybody in your life that you love, that you care about, that is connected to you, that you want to see their life grow just as much as your life is growing, I dare you to go ahead and share this stream with them right now. Okay, here's my story. I was in middle school. I was in a singing group with my best friend, Chaz. And Chaz, if you're watching, what's up, man? Get squad up, man. Jump on the team. I was in a singing group with my best friend, Chaz. And I mean, we were serious about this thing, man. We started in 6th grade and kept going all the way up through 9th grade. And the group went through several changes, but Chaz and I had a ritual. Every day after school, really no matter what, we were going to practice. Sometimes we practiced at his house. Sometimes we practiced at my house. And sometimes, just for the hell of it, we'd practice near the local water tower. It was perfectly situated between our homes, between his and mine. And for the most part, it was unoccupied space. Now, the closer you get to me, the more time you spend with me, you'll realize the one thing that cannot be around me for too long is unoccupied space. If there's some space around me, I'm going to occupy it. I'm going to do something with it. Every house I've ever lived in, if there was an empty lot of land next door, it was mine. It's just something about space where I'm like, nah, I just see, when I see space, I see opportunity. And so then I just got to do something with it. You know what I'm saying? I see space, I see opportunity. And so I got to do something with it. And so there was this unoccupied space in between both of us. And we said, you know, we can practice here sometimes when we just need another way, another place to practice. So we're practicing one day and we kept tripping over this annoying 4x4 size piece of wood. So we decided to move it. All right. I get on one side, Chaz gets on the other. We both lift with our knees like the responsible young men that we are. And we proceed to move the board. Now, within a few steps, I suddenly dropped, managing to painfully hold on to the sides of the board, keeping myself from falling into the hole that it was covering. Oh my goodness. Now, obviously, my adrenaline was pumping, my blood was rushing, and my best friend was absolutely horrified, terrified, bewildered, if you will. He was besides himself with fear and anxiety. I looked down, and all I could see was darkness. I was sure that I was at the end of my rope. And I was somehow sure that this moment was punishment for sneaking into a restricted area. And isn't that funny how life can do you, where you can grab certainty in the moment, even when you don't have that certainty grounded in anything? Because in that moment, the only thing I know is I know that we've moved this board, I've dropped, I've looked down, I can't see anything. But at that moment, I become sure that this must be happening, that life has a reason that this is happening to me. And at this moment, that life has an intent of punishing me for being in an unrestricted area. I am assigning intent to where intent does not exist. But even worse than that, I am also attaching certainty in the moment where there is no grounding for that certainty. But that's how powerful indoctrination is, where it gets you to the point where if something bad is happening, someone must mean it for my evil. And I am already preaching better than y'all responding. I guess it's because I'm standing up today, because many of us have been taught, and many of us have gotten into the habit of assigning agency when we don't yet have understanding. All right, sure, somebody did something that hurt your feelings, but just because it hurt doesn't mean they intended it. Now, I'm not trying to excuse anybody for anything. I'm just trying to help us in all of our getting, get some understanding. Can I get a hell yeah out of there? There is a part of us that is still stuck in that childish place where if you walk by a thorn bush and it scratches you, you go bad bush. But in all reality, it's not a bad bush. It's a bad relationship. Damn, you ain't bad. I ain't bad. I just got too close to something that wasn't good for me. Oh, can you live with that type of nuance? Damn, I didn't mean to get there. But in that moment, I'm attaching agents. Oh, damn. I'm attaching agency to the moment. Because this hurt, life must means for it to hurt. Because I'm scared, life must want me to be scared. Because I think I'm about to lose my life, life must want me to lose my life. I have inadvertently learned how to attach agency to a moment. Oh, good. Damn, this is good. Whew. So I imagined my family members would even dismiss my death as me getting what I deserved. You know, man, with tears in my eyes, watching the fear in my best friend's eyes, I let go of the board as I could no longer hold on. Now, obviously, you know the end of the story because I'm still here. Within less than a second, my feet were on solid ground. Chaz was still in shock from the drop, but suddenly realized that he wasn't hearing my fading screams. He leaned over the edges of the hole to see me shocked but safe. And with a smile that was quickly becoming a laugh, he asked, "What happened?" Still shaken, but relieved, I started stepping around the hole to demonstrate that in spite of what it looked like, in spite of the certainty that I had attached myself to, in spite of the impending doom that I had assigned to my life, I wish I had somebody out here. In spite of what it looked like, I was actually standing on solid ground. In spite of what I thought, in spite of, listen, just a few seconds before that, I was 100% sure that I was a goner. I was 100% sure that life had made its decision about me, that this moment had agency that I could not outpace. I did not have any type of understanding that could lead me to that conclusion, but certainty had led me there, as it often does with fear. But when he asked me what happened, damn, this is good, I started stepping around the hole to demonstrate that in spite of what it looked like, I was standing on solid ground. And looking up, fighting back laughter myself, I said, "Chaz, it looks like I'm safer than I thought. And if you're not too bougie, if you're not too mean, would you go ahead and just drop that in the chat, that in spite of what it looks like right now, I'm safer than I thought." If you got some friends out there who need some encouragement, maybe shoot them a text message real quick and just say, "I love you, and I want you to know that in spite of what it looks like, you're safer than you thought." I hope this is gonna encourage somebody, going to inspire somebody, going to motivate somebody, because listen, in the world that we live in, it is really easy to get caught up in the certainty of doom. It is really easy to go ahead and assign damnation to your life, to your circumstances. It is easy to go ahead and assume that you know that what you're dealing with is just the consequences. But I just want to remind somebody, like the old Black Baptist preacher that I am, I just want to remind somebody that you might be safer than you thought. All right, come on now. Most of us are afraid of the wrong things, not because we're stupid, not because we're weak, but because fear doesn't work the way that we think it does. Some people are afraid to swim in the ocean because of sharks. I love to swim. I'm fairly good at it. I am one of those people. I don't want to get too far out there. That's their land. That's this land is my land. That land is your, that type of thing. That's how the song supposed to go. But no, some people are afraid to swim in the ocean because of sharks. Some people won't ride a motorcycle because they're convinced they'll crash. Some people are afraid to walk down an alley because they think they'll get mugged. But most of us will drive home at some point today without thinking twice, even though driving is one of the riskiest things we do every single day. Now, here's why this happens. Sharks are terrifying to imagine. Motorcycle crashes are absolutely graphic. Muggings feel personal and unpredictable. Fear loves what's vivid. Fear ignores what's familiar. I got to say it again. Fear loves what's vivid. This is why rage bait works so well. Fear loves what's vivid. It fears what's familiar. So it's really easy to get people really upset about things that are graphic. But then if you try to bring them to, okay, what are you actually familiar with? Fear doesn't like that because you got to ignore that. That's too calming. That doesn't match the data that someone's trying to get me upset about. Statistically speaking, you are far more likely to be injured driving to the beach than you are to being attacked by a shark at the beach. You're more likely to be hurt slipping in your bathroom than being attacked by a stranger in a dark alley. And yet we live our lives terrified of rare events, while casually ignoring the risks we navigate every day. That doesn't mean that nothing bad ever happens. It means that fear is often bad at math. And the easier it is to picture, the more dangerous it feels. Okay. That's good. The easier it is to picture, the more dangerous it feels. This is why many people, after deconstructing, we'll say this way, many people after deconverting still deal with the fear of hell because they haven't deconstructed fear yet. And they're often trying to wonder, like, why is this fear of hell? Why is it gripping me so strong? Why does it have such a strong attach to me? It's because it is easier to picture. It is more vivid. It is more graphic. It is not just an idea. It is not just a philosophy. It is a part of your imagination. People have worked the story to the point where you can imagine the heat on your flesh, even though your flesh won't exist. Now, how you work that out, that's up to you, but you have imagined the idea of flames. You've imagined, because of Jesus himself, even, you've imagined the gnashing of teeth and the screams. The easier it is the picture, the more dangerous it feels. If I tell you there's a big dog outside and that dog is trying to get us, you may or may not feel that fear immediately. But if you hear that mug barking, the easier it is to picture, the more dangerous it feels, even when it isn't actually dangerous. Now, what's wild is this doesn't just affect how we see danger in the world, it affects how we see danger in our beliefs, in our questions, in our doubts. Some of us were taught to fear ideas the same way people fear sharks, not because they were likely to destroy us, but because they were vivid, emotional, and loaded with imagery. And once you start checking your fear against reality, something surprising happens. You don't become reckless, you become clearer. You realize that you're safer than you thought. This weekend isn't about pretending the world is harmless. It's about learning how fear actually works. It's about learning what fear is actually trying to inform us of. It's about learning how often it's been lying about how much danger we're really in. Because when fear stops running the story, we don't lose our sense of safety. We finally get it back. Fear, oh, damn, this is good. Not in my notes, but this is good. Fear makes you scared, not necessarily safe. Yeah, let that pause. Damn, if we had the musicians here live on site, like we just have to have a musical moment. No, fear makes you scared, and scared may be necessary at times. Please don't get me wrong. We've already unpacked that fear can help you survive or it can cause you to suffer. Okay. But you still got to remember, even when it helps me survive, fear makes me scared. Fear itself does not make me safe. So if someone ever puts me in a situation where the end goal is my fear, then the priority is not my safety. Y'all don't want to talk to me. If the end goal is my fear, if the objective is just that I'm afraid, if the only thing you want out of me is to make sure that I am afraid of this outcome or afraid of this event or afraid of this person, then the thing that you are not concerned with is my safety, because fear makes me scared. It does not make me safe. Oh, is this good, y'all? Is this good? So we're not talking about, we're not pretending the world is harmless. We're talking about getting clarity. So since many of life's big questions revolve around fear, let's deal with it. So our first big question of the weekend, and write this in your notes if you're a note taker: what does fear tell me? That's the question that we all want to ask. What does fear tell me? What is it trying to communicate to me? Here's a good anchor point: fear isn't a warning. All right. Damn, this is good. Fear isn't a warning. You respond to fear like a warning. I want to help you. Fear is not a warning, it's a signal. Okay. Fear is not a warning, it's a signal. It's a learned signal shaped by what we are taught to fear. So the questions we must understand is: what does fear tell me? What is fear trying to protect me from? And who taught it what to fear? I used to treat fear like a warning. I used to think that fear was warning me, like something was wrong, like I was about to mess up. If I'm afraid, then my fear must be trying to tell me that I'm about to mess up, like I was crossing a line. If I'm afraid, then my fear is trying to keep me from crossing the line. But that's not what fear is. It does not have that type of information. It turns out fear wasn't warning me. Fear was reflecting what I had already been taught. Fear was echoing. Ooh. Fear was echoing the responses that I had already been ingrained with. Fear was echoing, mirroring my biases back to me. Fear was often just regurgitating the script that I had already fed it. See, most of us grew up thinking fear was God tapping us on the shoulder, like, hey, pay attention, something's wrong. But what if fear isn't a message from above? What if fear is a memory from behind? Okay, let's come on, let's recalibrate ourselves. What if fear is not a message from above, but a memory from behind? Let's put things where they belong. Let's put things in perspective. Fear doesn't appear out of nowhere. Fear is trained. I started realizing this when I hung out with people who did not grow up the way that I grew up. I realized that there were environments that I could invite them in that they would be terrified to be in, and vice versa. There were environments that they would invite me to be in. And this little boy from the sticks and the bricks wasn't ready for all of these tricks that they had me out there. And I mean, they took me canoeing, and I'm out there canoeing with dang Timberlands on, and they want to rock the damn boat. I'm terrified. I am out of my element. I am absolutely terrified, but they are not. We are experiencing the same thing. This is good. But our fear has been informed differently, because it's not a message from above. It's based on memories from behind. Fear is trained. It learns patterns. It learns associations. It learns what got applause and what got punished. Some of the things you're afraid to do with your own life isn't based on any other rationale than the fact that you've seen other people mistreated who've done certain things with their life. So that fear is not telling you that this is wrong. That fear is reminding you that you have a memory of someone being mistreated. Oh, I hope this is helping somebody. So fear is based off memory. Once fear learns something, it doesn't ask if this is still true. Fear doesn't care if something is true. Fear just cares if it's familiar. Fear isn't asking, is this true? Fear is asking, have we survived this before? How do we make it through last time? How did we protect ourselves last time? How did we cope with this last time? Okay, that's where this is almost good. Fear, when unchecked, gets stuck in last time. All right, so that's the most dangerous place for your fear to live. For your fear to live in last time without being updated with what you've learned, who you've become, who you are now, who you're trying to be, who you're willing to be, what you're willing to accept, and what you're no longer willing to tolerate. Fear can't always help you with that because fear can easily get caught up in last time. Okay, fear shows up. So if you were taught that questioning was dangerous, anybody was taught that questioning was dangerous, I was called the Antichrist as a child because I had too many questions. Still went into ministry after that. Ain't that amazing? But was called the Antichrist. I remember a woman pulled my mother to the side after a church service and said, he's too inquisitive for his age. You're going to have to keep him away from books and stuff like that. I remember even when I was younger, just because I was outspoken as a younger child, I remember the old ladies used to pull my aunts to the side and say, you're going to have to watch him. His mouth is going to get him in trouble. And just to be clear, they were not wrong. But my mouth kept me in good trouble. So if you were taught that questioning was dangerous, fear is going to show up when you question. If you were taught that disagreement means rejection, then fear is going to show up when you disagree. I think this is one of the things that is destroying communities right now. When I was first writing out just kind of some of the values of Bridge City, one of the things that I wrote, and this is why we're Bridge City. Okay, the name isn't just there because it's cute. It has some meaning to it. There's some innuendo to it. There's some nuance to it. But we're Bridge City. One of the values that I wrote down, and you could probably still find a little thing because I made a little video for it, but it's that disagreement doesn't have to lead to disconnection. You know what I'm saying? Like, have you ever breathed in that? Like, have you ever asked yourself, like, while being in mid disagreement with somebody, have you ever just stopped to ask yourself, what's actually the utility of this agreement? Like if we both just said, you know what, bam, we're gonna agree. What happens after that? What improves? What changes? Whose life is better? Who gets to eat that did not eat that night? Who gets shelter that did not get shelter that night? What changes in any type of tangible way if we agree on this thing that we're disagreeing about? Have you ever done that? I promise you it'll change your life. Because in most cases, you'll find out that we're disagreeing with people over things that have no utility. I don't even need you to agree with me about this. Damn, this is good. So I wrote that disagreement does not have to lead to disconnection. That's what being a bridge is about, man. But if you were taught that disagreement means rejecting, if you disagree with me, you are rejecting me. If you don't agree with me, you don't value me. See, if that's the way you view life, you have a value issue. And the biggest, and I can go ahead and jump to the root of that. That issue is nothing other than you needing affirmation, you needing external affirmation of your value. Like, I don't need anybody else to agree with me for me to feel valuable. No, I don't need your, I don't, watch this. I don't need your agreement. I don't need your support. I don't need your cooperation. I don't even need your participation for me to feel value. I need your agreement. I need your participation. I need your cooperation for you to be able to benefit from some of this value. Damn, this is, oh, goddamn. Can I get a hell yeah right there? Jalapeno, habanero. No. I don't need your agreement for me to be valuable. I don't need your support for me to be valuable. I don't need your cooperation for me to be valuable. I don't need your participation for me to be valuable. No. You need your cooperation in order for you to benefit from this value. And I need your cooperation in order for me to benefit from your value. But whether you agree or not, it doesn't impact who I am. So because I live in that type of freedom, disagreement for me does not need to lead to disconnection because it is not necessary. I've had people reach out to me before in life and say, Darante, I'm so sorry I disappointed you. And I've had to say, what? No. You and I didn't have an appointment. Okay, stop setting yourself up to be manipulated by people like that. We didn't have no appointment. You didn't miss no appointment. Your appointments don't live here, so I can't be disappointed in you. Stop giving people that much power over your life. Disappointment is the child of false expectations. If the expectations ain't out of y'all, okay, let me get back to my notes. Let me get back to my notes. So, for some of you, fear doesn't sound abstract. It sounds really specific. It sounds like, what if I open myself up to something? You have no idea how many people who are wrestling with that, especially those who are living life after faith, those who are struggling to define themselves in a post-religious ideology. What if by no longer being wrapped up in doctrine and creed and authority, what if I am opening myself up to something? And watch this, that doesn't just stay in religion, that goes into politics, that goes into any type of organizations you are in where someone takes an authoritative God's eye view, or where you impose someone else's authority or God's eye view over your life, where you begin to fear, if I don't listen to them, will this bad thing happen to me? What if this fear is a warning? What if I'm being punished? Some of you have had the thought, what if something bad happens and proves that I was wrong? What if something bad happens and proves that I made the wrong decision? These are not crazy thoughts, my friends. These are trained thoughts. They're not crazy thoughts. And that's the thing, and I guess from the outside looking in, it's easier for me to say, but I do want to just give somebody a little peaceful reminder, especially for those of you who are struggling with fear from your religious life, for those of you who are struggling with the baggage of religious fear. When that fear pops up, just remember, these thoughts aren't crazy. They're trained. They're trained. It would be weird if I left this after 15 years, after 25 years, after 35 years, and did not have these thoughts. These thoughts are here on purpose. They were trained to be here. Now, fear feeling strong doesn't mean it's right. Oh, goodness. Just because fear speaks doesn't mean it gets the microphone. Fear is loyal to what it learned, not to what's true. Fear is loyal to what it learned last time, not to what's true. Fear in itself doesn't even have the ability to investigate or interrogate what's true. What taught me to fear does not automatically get to lead me. It gets consideration, but it doesn't get to lead me. You hear that? My fear gets consideration, but it doesn't get to lead me. Even when I was deconstructing, going through deconversion, that's one of the decisions I made. My faith gets consideration, but it doesn't get to lead me. From this point on, I'm in the driver's seat. Okay. So listen, I'm gonna check on what the other passengers are saying. Yes, I want to hear what my emotions of fear are saying. Yes, I want to hear what anxiety is telling me. Yes, I want to hear what excitement is telling me. But at the end of the day, it's my hands on the wheels and my feet on the gas. Or am I talking? All right. What taught me to fear does not automatically get to lead me. Somebody needs to make that your affirmation, is that I am no longer going to be led by fear, and I don't care who it is that's peddling the fear. It could be my most beloved person. It could be my favorite content creator. It can be the president, oh goodness gracious, of this country. It could be whoever, but I am no longer responding to people who are just peddling fear, because if you are peddling fear, you are just trying to get me scared. You have no concern for keeping me safe. I've always said, if you gonna be Noah, if you gonna be the person that's telling everybody else that a flood is coming, if you're gonna be the person telling everybody else that it's about to go down and that everybody's about to die, at least be the same person that's building a damn boat. Otherwise, what good are you? What good are you if the only thing you can do is to tell everybody else that something is bad is happening, but you don't have the ability to put people in position to do something about it? No, I'm cut from a different kind of cloth. I hope I ain't making nobody too mad. So what taught me to fear doesn't automatically get to lead me. Listen, a smoke alarm can go off because there's a fire, or it can go off because you burn some toast. That's how fear works. The alarm can be going off. Whew, the alarm can be going off. It could be a fire. Ain't nobody got time for that. I had to do it. It could be a fire. Yeah, no, the alarm going off, it could be a fire, or it could be some burnt toast, or it could be somebody smoking in a hotel room when they're not supposed to be smoking in the hotel room. Shame on you. The alarm isn't lying, but it also isn't thinking. The alarm is not a thinking mechanism. It is a reacting mechanism. The alarm is reacting to a trigger, not responding to a reality. So fear is often responding to the trigger. Fear is often reacting to the trigger before it has time to respond to the reality. Okay? Fear is the alarm, not the judge. Fear is the reaction, not the response. The reaction is natural. The response is where the problem comes in at. And here's the part nobody really says out loud. Fear doesn't automatically leave just because the belief does. Okay? Because again, fear goes by last time. It goes by what it's been programmed to perceive as danger. It don't know if that's toast smoke or burning down smoke. It knows that there's smoke, and if there's smoke, there needs to be a trigger. Which what did I tell you earlier? Reality will give you responsibility. So this is not my time to react. This is my time to deal with my responsibility. Other words, respond. Goodness gracious. Okay. So fear doesn't automatically leave just because the belief did. The difference now is you have the liberty and the responsibility to interrogate your fear before you act on it. Whew, that's the hard part. That's the responsible part. So when fear shows up, that doesn't always mean that something is wrong. It means that something was taught. And what was taught doesn't automatically get to lead. All right, so that brings me to our second question of today's conversation. Why does fear linger? All right, Mr. Big Shot with the big hat and the big glasses, I hear you talking. But if fear is just a trigger, dude, I've been out of this belief system for a decade. Why is this fear still here? Why does fear linger? Why is it still holding on? See, fear can linger long after the belief system that created it is gone. So what happens when fear outlives the system that created it? You know, I left the system, but the fear stuck around. Some of you did the hard part already. You've already changed your mind. You've questioned what you were taught. You left the belief system and you thought that now that I've done that, I've changed my mind. I've questioned what I was taught. I've reprocessed what I've learned. I've left the belief system. And now I thought that I would no longer have to deal with this fear again. I thought that the fear would leave, that it would fade, but it didn't. Ain't that crazy that the belief left, but the fear stuck around? Okay, now listen, let's deal with that just for one moment. I want us to all think about that, just to all give us some empathy, whether you deal with this fear or not. Like for example, I don't deal with the fear of hell, like at all. Let's just at all, like it ain't. But like I also like hell wasn't very terrifying. It wasn't convincing for me. Okay, hell wasn't convincing for me. Hell, heaven wasn't convincing for me. But for some hell is still a big issue. Like there's a real fear of hell for people. Now watch this. The fear only exists because of the belief. The belief precedes the fear. And so you would rightfully think that if I get rid of the belief, that the fear would dissipate. And in many ways, and this is not where I was planning on going with my notes, but I want to highlight this really from a sociological perspective, because in many ways that indicates, that implies, that infers even that the belief itself is kind of like a Trojan horse for the fear. It's like belief in many times. Oh, damn. It feels like belief shows up sometimes to sow seeds of fear. It ain't even, in order to get you to believe, I have to get the seeds of fear in there first. This is crazy. So just wrestle with that for a minute. There are people out there, the belief is gone, but the fear is there. And if that's you, if you're that person where you're like, no, I left the belief years ago. I don't believe these things, but I'm still dealing with that fear. That doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you were wrong. It means you are human. And this is what I love about our type of gatherings. This is why, man, I'll die on this hill for Bridge City. I think this is what we need to be doing. We need more of these around the globe. We need more of these conversations because people need to understand, and I hope y'all are ready for this, that beliefs change faster than nervous systems. Beliefs change faster than nervous systems. See, you can change your mind, but your nervous system still has a memory. Insight moves quicker than instinct. Just because you updated your thinking doesn't mean your body got the memo. Belief systems live up here. They live up here in our memory and our imagination. Fear and their responses, they live down here. Beliefs are cognitive. fear is embodied. And when those two are out of sync, fear doesn't mean the belief was right. It means the conditioning was deep. All right. Time gap does not equal truth gap. See, a lot of us assume this. If something is true, it should feel true immediately. So when the fear didn't go away right away, we thought the belief must have been right after all. But that assumption mixes two different things together: how fast something changes and how true something is. All right. Speed and truth are not the same thing. Just because something takes time to catch up doesn't mean it wasn't true when you decided. If you move to a new house, you might wake up for weeks thinking you're still in the old one. That doesn't mean that you didn't move. It means your body hasn't caught up yet. Time gap doesn't mean truth gap. So yes, you may, just because you're still dealing with the fear doesn't mean that you still live there. You've already moved on from it. You've already changed your mind. It's just taking some time for your body to catch up. So when fear sticks around after belief changes, that doesn't mean the belief was right. It means the fear hasn't caught up yet to the new information. Time gap does not equal truth gap. The delay doesn't mean you were wrong. Fear will fill the gap with stories. And if you don't understand the gap, you will believe the story. Fear says if this was right, it wouldn't that you wouldn't still feel this. But fear is confusing how long something takes with whether it's true at all. Fear is confusing feelings with facts. Feelings often lag behind facts. Have you ever believed something to be true with your whole heart? And I'm talking, let's just use something stupid, right? Use something crazy, use something simple, use something silly that you believe. Or it could be something serious, but just something not about religion, not about faith, so you're not hyper protective of it. Maybe you believe something about somebody, you know, and then you found out some information. But just because you found out the information, notice it does not always change your emotions. I've seen people who thought somebody did something to them, and they've thought it for years. And then all of a sudden, the evidence comes and says, well, actually, this person never did that. And yet they still find themselves wrestling with wait a minute, I now know that this person never did that. And yet I still have these feelings. I still have these emotions towards this person or towards this event, even though I now know that it didn't happen. A great one that you can actually look up is Kathy Bates talks about she felt that she did not thank her mother when she got her first Oscar. And she's lived with that her whole life. And she was being interviewed and she was sharing a story. And the person asked, well, why do you think you didn't thank your mother? And she goes into this story about, well, because she was upset with me and she said something about that I didn't deserve an Oscar because it wasn't nothing but acting. And ain't it crazy how people will belittle what you do when they can't do what you do? But that's a whole nother story. But he said, and she said, because I was so upset about her devaluing me that somehow I just forgot about thanking her. And then the interview said, no, that's not what I asked. I said, why do you think that you didn't do it? And she's like, what do you mean? He says, you did thank your mother at the Oscars. I said, what? No. She said, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. And then he shows her the video. Now, this could be AI for all I know. I don't know. But he shows her the video. And there it is. And she does thank her mother. But even in that moment, seeing the evidence, it's still the emotion, the feelings like I didn't do it. And that's because feelings often lag behind facts. If you don't understand this, fear will keep you second guessing every decision you already made. because you think the fear is running off of the same information you're running off of, and fear is still running off of last time. It hasn't caught up yet. Now, once you catch this, you'll stop confusing discomfort with danger. Fear lets me know something uncomfortable is happening. Something is happening that I'm uncomfortable with. It does not necessarily mean that I am in danger. It can mean that I'm in danger, but it is irresponsible for me to make that jump. Making that jump as a society is what sustains all types of biases, all types of discriminatory practices, all types of isms, whether we're talking about racism, sexism, or any type of other isms, when you can allow your fear to make the decisions, when discomfort becomes danger. Just because fear takes time to leave doesn't mean the belief was true. It means your nervous system is catching up, and it takes some time. Time gap doesn't equal truth gap. Fear sticking around is not evidence you were wrong. Fear lingering doesn't mean you were weak. It means you were trained well, as most of us are. The presence of fear tells me about my past, not about my future. If you touch a hot stove once, your hands pull back fast next time, even before you think about it, because your body learns faster than your beliefs unlearn. Some of you thought if this was really freedom, I wouldn't still feel this. But freedom doesn't erase memory. Freedom teaches you how to live with it. There are people who go to war. There are people who fight for the liberation of others. There are people who fought to liberate themselves. I grew up reading the stories of people like Frederick Douglass, who literally fought to liberate himself. But freedom doesn't erase the memories of bondage. Freedom does a lot of things, but freedom doesn't erase the fear. Freedom teaches you how to live with it. Okay? So if fear can stick around even after the belief is gone, then the question isn't, how do I make fear disappear? The question is, how do I decide what safety actually is now? Because if fear can lag behind reality, then safety cannot be based on fear anymore. Your perception of safety should not be based on what you fear. See, notice something about these questions. They sound different, but they're all asking the same thing. All right. Am I opening myself up to something evil? What if unseen forces attack me? Am I risking my soul? That's the fear of supernatural retaliation. It's the same fear that I outlined when I shared my story in the beginning of me holding on to that board, just thinking I'm getting ready to fall into this hole, into a pit of death, to my doom. And I am already determining how this is some type of cosmic karmic cycle that is playing out. I am living under the fear of supernatural retaliation, that this is something bad happening, confirming that I was wrong. Man, if bad things happen confirming when people were wrong, we live in a much different society. you know So we often ask ourselves, like, what if I regret this when I'm dying? That's the fear of cosmic regret. It's different words, but it's the same fear. Fear multiplies scenarios when it's trying to stay in charge. I've been in several sessions with people when they get into these fears and they just go through these lists of what if, not realizing that they're asking the same question dressed up differently. And it's just fear trying to stay in charge. Always asking questions that watch this, asking questions not only that they don't have the answers to, but questions that they're already assuming that there's only one answer to. And the easiest way to see that is that they're not interested in any other answers. And that's how you know when fear is in the driver's seat. Here's what I had to learn. The presence of a scary question doesn't mean the question is valid. Sometimes we answer in the wrong questions. Fear is excellent at asking questions. It's terrible at answering them. Okay? See, what if I'm being punished? That's not a revelation. That's not a breakthrough. That's conditioning. Okay. What if unseen forces are attacking me? That's not insight. You're not saying I discovered something that leads me to this conclusion. You're still stuck in what if land. Oh, we got to get out of what if land. You know, it's not insight. It's imagination fueled by fear. Fear can ask questions, and that's okay. But we have to make sure that the fear itself doesn't get to decide the meaning, which leads us to our final question of today. What is safety? Okay. What is safety? All right. Because listen, I've kind of said the point of fear is to get you scared. But a part of getting you scared is first convincing you that you're not safe. All right. And it's really easy to convince you that you're not something that hasn't been defined. You know, this is one of the things that I realized was the most insidious about modern religion, because it breeds so much pseudo intelligence that it becomes easier for people to just assign things to your life without these things even really having any meaning. And so now you're afraid, you're scared, you're living in fear, but you have no clue what safety really is. And if you don't know when you're safe, how do you actually know when you're in danger? So this question is, what is safety? Real safety comes from reality, not from not from feeling protected by a story. We have to ask ourselves, what does safety look like when it's grounded in reality instead of protection myths? Once I started checking fear against reality, I realized I was safer than I thought. Once I started saying, you know what, Darante, it's okay to have the fear. Fear is natural. But before you act on this fear, before you make any decisions on this fear, we're going to stress test this fear against reality. We're going to pressure test this fear against reality. And if the test, once we test it against reality, if it stands, then it's something that deserves not only our attention, but our activity. But if it cannot stand the test of reality, then it's likely a distraction, and a dangerous one at that. Because at that moment, instead of fear being used to help me survive, fear is being reverse engineered to cause my own suffering. Okay? So here's what I had to learn. A lot of us weren't actually taught how to be safe. We were taught how to feel protected. I've shared this story a few times on this platform, but I feel like it's so relevant. But we had a little inflatable pool in our backyard, and my two youngest kids were playing in it, and my youngest son kept jumping a little too close to the edge, and I have a very hyperactive imagination. And my fear was that, oh my goodness, he's going to jump too close to the edge. The inflatable is going to fold up on him, and he's going to get caught up in there and is not going to be able to breathe. And so as a parent, I rush outside, and watch this. The alarm went off, and I immediately reacted, and I rush outside. Hey, stop doing that. No. And I come back in the house, and then I start thinking about it, and I'm like, ooh, that's actually not the message that I wanted to send. That's not what I wanted to communicate. And let me sit with that a little bit. The reason I thought about it in that way is because I can't afford to raise children who are avoidant of risk. I can't afford to raise children who are avoidant of danger. And that's the message that I just communicated. The message that I just communicated is that if it looks dangerous, if it looks risky, just stay away. And that's fine for a 1993 after school special. But in 2025, just honestly, in reality, now that we're no longer living in a bubble, it's not that I need you to be avoidant of things that scare you. I need you to know how to navigate things that scare you. It's not that I need you to stay away from things that are dangerous. It's not that I need you to stay away from things that are risky. It's that I need you to have a respect for the environments that you are in. I need you to have an understanding that some environments create more risk than other environments. Some environments create more danger than other environments, but I don't want you walking around here scared. No, I don't want you living scared. I don't want you to rob yourself of opportunity. I don't want you to rob yourself of life. I just want you to be aware and to know how to navigate it. I know that I needed to teach I needed to communicate a different message. So I realized most of us weren't actually taught how to be safe. We were taught how to feel protected. And that's honestly what makes us most vulnerable to being manipulated by other people and having people weaponize their incompetence towards us, is because instead of us actually learning how to be safe ourselves, instead of us learning how to navigate, instead we're just taught how to feel protected. And feeling protected is not the same as being safe. Feeling protected and being safe or are not the same thing. There's a lot of folks who's had a big somebody on their hand that felt on their arm that felt protected, only to find out later that they weren't safe. Damn, this is good. Oh, can I say that again? There are plenty of people out there with a big somebody on their arm that thought that was going to lead to them. And even though they feel protected, they later had to find out that in reality, they were not safe. Protection is about comfort. Safety is about awareness. Okay? Damn, this is good. Stories create emotional comfort. Realities create actual feedback. Protection myths tell you, don't worry. Someone's got this. There's a great man in the sky. Karma, what goes around comes around. Now, my problem with most of these things is I have to ignore life as is to believe any of these things. But reality says instead, pay attention. Here's what's actually happening. That you don't know what's happening until you've actually investigated what happens. Reality says, pay attention. Stories tell you everything will be okay. Reality shows you what actually is. Stories often tell you what you want to hear, maybe even what you feel you need to hear. But reality tells you what actually is, and it can be uncomfortable sometimes, but it is. People often ask me, Darante, are you an optimist? Are you a pessimist? Or are you a pessimist? And I often respond like, why would I choose to be either one when I can be a realist? I don't have to pretend that something is better than it is, nor do I have to pretend that something is worse than it is. I can just treat everything like it just is. Reality is going to show you what is, even when what is isn't comfortable. So yes, it is uncomfortable for some people realizing that, whoa, there's not a great big man in the sky watching everything. That's uncomfortable for many people. But if you were to look at reality as it is, that's what it is. As I want to say I was in my early 30s. Early 30s, y'all, when I finally made the decision, came to the realization, the uncomfortable but necessary truth that, Darante, you do not have parents. It should not have taken me that long to get there, but it did. I had to, no, Durante, you don't have parents, okay? You have people who did the deed and made the primordial soup that evolved into you through evolutionary developmental biology. Yet that happened. You had some carriers that got you here, but you did not have parents. That was an uncomfortable truth. It was uncomfortable for me to realize that yes, people could have children and not be parents. It was an uncomfortable truth, but it was an uncomfortable truth that I had to deal with, because the longer that I did not deal with it, I was living my life with issues that weren't even my issues to have. And then finally it hit me like, no, Darante, you don't have a hole in your life because your parents are missing. They were never there. So there is no hole. You don't need, y'all don't want to talk to me. It's uncomfortable. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. And watch this. It's not even uncomfortable. It's not even uncomfortable because it's like, oh, I'm a kid and my dad and my mom wasn't there. No. It's uncomfortable because society won't let you be honest about stuff like that. Because society will often try to put pressure on your back and say, well, that's still your dad. You're only going to have one mom. Well, no, I didn't have one. I didn't have neither. I didn't have none of them. And the problem is you'll end up spending your life like you have something that you don't. Did y'all see what I did there? Did you see how I worked that thing back around? Because you got so many people out there living like somebody's taking care of it when nobody's taking care of it. Stories will tell you everything is okay, but reality is going to show you what actually is. Okay? So stories will tell you, no, God has the Black community. God is going to take care of the Black community. God has always been on the side of the Black community. Stories will tell you that, but reality says, look at me. See me where I am. We're going to call a spade around here. So fear keeps us loyal to stories because stories feel safe. Reality feels risky until you realize that it's more honest. It's more honest. No, I gotta be real. I stopped visiting family members who wouldn't visit me. I stopped accepting invitations for people who wouldn't give. No. I only go where I'm celebrated, never where I'm tolerated. That's what freedom does. Reality feels more honest. Just going back to my father real quick, it wasn't ugly. I called him and I told him, hey, man, I just want you to know that I release you from that. You don't even have to worry about that responsibility. That seat's taken. We're good. Reality feels more risky until you realize that it's more honest, that I have to be honest with myself about where I am. Otherwise, I'm going to be navigating life by a story that doesn't exist. And I see so many people right now struggling in reality, in real time, because they're allowing the stories to override their reality. Stories filter reality for you. They tell you what to notice and what to ignore. And when a story promises protection, it dulls curiosity. Because curiosity asks questions. If this was really protection, why don't I feel protected? Oh my goodness. Protection stories give answers, but unanswered questions don't make you unsafe. Ignoring reality does. Reality doesn't promise comfort. It gives feedback. I'm going to say that again. Reality doesn't promise comfort. It gives feedback. Damn, that was very uncomfortable. Well, now you know. That's how reality goes. It does not provide comfort. It gives feedback. And then it's your responsibility to take that feedback and do what you will. I'm not safer in life because nothing bad happened. I'm not safer because nothing can get to me. I'm safer because I can now see what's happening. I'm safer because I now have my eyes on the road. I'm safer because I'm now clearly looking. I'm safer because I'm no longer treating red flags like Six Flags. I wish I had a community out there. Can I get a hell yeah? I'm safer because I'm no longer pretending to be protected. I'm living in the reality that there is no protection other than what I create through either my own endeavors or through partnerships with others, which then gets me off of my ass and actually, oh, damn, this is so good, which then actually gets me off of my ass and gets me into intentional relationships with other folk. See, that's one of the beautiful things about this. When you start living in a false sense of security, you stop working on the things that actually matter. And so then you look up one day and you're wondering, how has a whole country gone to hell in a handbasket? And I'm telling you, it's because people have been paying more attention to their fears than doing the things that actually make us safe. I'm safer because I can see. I'm safer because I can feel. I'm safer because I can touch. I'm safer because I can understand. I don't have to pretend to have answers that I don't have to be safe. No, because my safety. Damn it. I hope y'all are ready for this. My safety isn't just about tomorrow. No. When we're talking about my safety, we're talking about my now. And that's something I can investigate. That's something I can interrogate. That's something I can judge by the feedback. So, no, I don't need a protector to be safe. I need clarity. Clarity, it doesn't make me fearless. It just makes me safer than I thought. You know, it's because I've lived through stuff like, man, my wife always jokingly says, like, dude, if you ever wrote an autobiography, you'd have to write like 5 of them. Because my life is always it's like a damn movie, man. I've had so many moments, but what I've tried to get out of those moments, especially post deconversion and post deconstruction, is like, listen, I don't believe in perfection, so I don't think I'll ever have perfect sight. But if I can just get a little bit of clarity, I may not ever get certainty on an issue. I may not ever get closure on an issue, but if I can just get clarity, I think I'll be okay. There was and I've shared this on my channel, it's no secret, but a few people in the atheist YouTube space were trying to bully me for a while, and some of them were trying to do it the nice way. um and just say, well, you should do this because you want to care about these people. And I'm like, I don't even know these people. you know but if you do this, these people won't support you, these people won't support you. And I'm like, oh no, I recognize what type of language that is. I recognize what that's work there. And one thing about me, I don't need for you to recognize that something is out of order, inappropriate, manipulative, or narcissistic in order for me to recognize it. So that's one thing. Like when you get clarity about yourself, I don't need nobody else to see it for me to see it. Me seeing it is enough. And once I see it, I separate it. That's the power of clarity. Clarity keeps me safe. A weather app doesn't say, don't worry, it'll be fine. That's not what it does. It says, here's what's coming. Dress accordingly. Reality prepares you. Stories reassure you. Bridge City is not here to reassure you. Bridge City is here to prepare you. Is that good? Was that good? Like, I know this is inspirational. I know this is helpful, but baby, this is not just reassurance. This is preparation. The alarm doesn't make you safe. It tells you something triggering has happened so you can respond. Something is happening. Now I can respond. The alarm itself, it's not fear that makes me safe. Fear reacts. I respond. Oh, y'all are too funny in the chat. Once I stopped asking fear to keep me safe and started checking fear against reality, I realized that I was safer than I thought. And yes, this world can look terrifying after faith, but it can also look liberating when you realize that here it is. Something has happened that has taken the air out of me. Something has happened that has taken the breath out of my lung. It feels as if the ground has shifted beneath my feet. Everything I knew to be true, everything I knew to be loving, everything I knew to be wholesome or righteous is now different. That's the feeling. That's the feeling. Oh, but I felt it. Not just in my deconstruction, not just in my deconversion, not just in life changes, not just in my divorce. I felt it as that middle school child practicing in the water tower, as the ground literally shifted beneath my feet. That's what it felt like. Everything changed, pacing for air, adrenaline rushing. Felt it. And then you realize that the majority of what you're feeling is motivated by your fear, not your reality. You begin to realize that what you're experiencing, Darante, all of those thoughts about life trying to judge you, about life condemning you, about you deserving this, all of those thoughts are informed by your fear and not by the facts of what's happening. It's not being formed by the reality, because when you actually check the reality, when you actually stumble upon yourself, when you actually allow fear to get out of the driver's seat and you start thinking for yourself and you allow yourself to engage reality honestly, you start realizing nothing really changed but my mind. Everything else is still the same. This is why my deconversion was very different for me, because it wasn't that one day I stopped believing that a God was real. No, it was allowing myself to realize, like, hey, bruh, ain't nobody been there with you this whole time. You remember those times you looked in the sand and you just saw your own footprints, just one set of footprints? Those were the only times you were dealing with reality. Hello. You start looking at those things. So instead of being terrified that, no, if there's no God, then what does that mean for life? Well, if there's no God today, then that means there was no God yesterday, and there was no God the day before that. And then all of a sudden, history starts to make sense in the light of reality. History looks accurate when you look at it from the no God perspective, especially if you're looking for no involved God, no loving God. And I share that not to make you all not believe whatever you believe. I really don't give a damn, not for real. But I say that to be mindful of that's how fear often operates in our lives. And those are the things that we have to be mindful of. And so as we end this conversation, let me come back to the question that we started with. How do I know that I'm safe now without an external protector? The answer isn't that nothing bad can happen. The answer is that safety was never about guarantees. Safety was always about relationship. Safety was always about my relationship with reality. Safety is about getting a better relationship with my fear. It is getting a better relationship with my body. It is getting a better relationship with my past, a better relationship with my history, a better relationship with my present, a better understanding of the world that I live in and my impact on it, my role in it. That's what safety is about. Not a relationship where fear is silenced or pretended that it doesn't exist, but a relationship where fear is listened to, it is checked, and then it's placed in its proper role. Fear can ride in the car, but it doesn't get to drive. Fear can alert me, but it doesn't get to decide what's true. It doesn't get to decide who I am, and it doesn't get to decide how I live. And this is why spaces like this matter, because learning to trust reality is hard to do alone. We need people who can say, I felt that too. I know what that feels like. I know what you're going through. People who can say, I've been through that process. Let's go through this together. Let's unpack this together. Let's think about this together without a need to agree, without a need to be on the same page, just a need to be present, to be able to say, I may not have all of the answers with you, but I am willing to be on the journey with you. And I may not come to your conclusions, but I am willing to learn from your answers. People who can remind us that just because it feels scary doesn't mean that it's dangerous. We're not here to give you new beliefs to hide behind. We're here to help you build the capacity to live honestly in a real world with real questions and real courage. I didn't need an external protector to be safe. And I get it. I come off very pastoral, and my presentation is who I've been my whole life, maybe even a part of my personality since childhood. But you don't need a pastor to be safe. You don't need a preacher to be safe. You don't need a protector to be safe. You don't need an authority figure to be safe. You just need clarity. You know, you need awareness. You need to stop confusing the fear of the moment with the truth of reality. And once you do that, you'll realize that you're safer than you thought. And so as you move through this week, here's the invitation. When fear shows up, don't fight it, but don't obey it either. Everything that enters your life should have to submit to what you believe is good for your life. So don't obey it, check it. Ask, what am I actually seeing? What am I actually responding to? And what does reality say right now? Because the goal isn't to live without fear. The goal is to live with the fear without letting it run your life. And so today's invitation is not to face it alone. You do not have to do life by yourself. You can be one amazing, incredibly effective individual all on your own, and you can still be surrounded by community that loves you, that supports you, that promotes you. Bridge City isn't about replacing one belief system with another. It's about building the capacity to live honestly in the real world with real people. If fear has been loud in your life, if clarity has felt lonely, if you've been learning things that your body just hasn't caught up to yet, I'm learning these things that, man, this doesn't even make sense anymore, that, oh, I don't have to live by that anymore, or, ooh, I don't have to be afraid of this anymore, but the memories are still there and the pain is still there, then this is a place to practice life after faith together. None of us here can claim to have all of the answers to your questions. But as a community, we can tackle those questions together. I often tell people the way I view life is that we're all the blind man touching the elephant. You know? So the thing that's absolutely necessary for me to get a better view, to get a more realistic view of life, is to have other people in the community that are touching that big ass elephant, that I can ask, like, hey, what does it feel like from your side? And can I ask you, when is the last time you got out of your bubble? When is the last time you got out of your cocoon? When is the last time you got out of your echo chamber and went to somebody else and legitimately, realistically asked, what does it feel like on your side? That's the power of community. Having people not just to support, but having people to learn. So I hope I've said something today that has not only inspired you to be the best version of yourself and whatever that looks like for you, but man, I hope I've said something today that has sparked that community interest in you. Because we do this to remind you that, number one, we don't need gods to gather. We don't need authority to gather. We don't need religion to gather. People are enough. You are enough. I do this every Sunday for you. Our team does this every Sunday for you because you matter and you're enough. Thank you for joining us today.
What another great session today. You got to tell us what your favorite takeaway was from today's conversation. Make sure to leave it in the comments or keep the conversation going on our global campus in the common space. Speaking of, if you're making the decision to join Bridge City today, let me be the first to say, welcome to the Bridge. We're so glad to have you be a part of our growing community and can't wait for you to get involved. Your first step is to click the link on the screen now. From there, you can join our global campus and take your first steps as a new member. Once you're in, we made the path to connection easy, with brief learning tracks about our campus as well as our mission. By the time you finish your first steps, you'll know more about your new community and how to plug in and begin making a difference. So, if you're ready to join, click the link now, get access to member-only content, conversations, clubs, and even courses. We can't wait to welcome you. For everyone else, if you value these conversations and believe in the work we're trying to do as a global community, let's pause for an opportunity of generosity. Your giving helps make this space accessible, sustainable, and growing. It empowers our bridges to not only reach further, but support more people on the journey. With very little support, we've already accomplished so much. We've impacted hundreds of lives through these Sunday sessions, live events, and now with our global campus. Imagine how much more we could be doing, supporting, and promoting with your consistent financial support. Your weekly or monthly support, large or small, empowers us to establish new spaces, train new leaders, and power new projects that move people forward. That's what Bridge City is all about. The donation link and QR code are on the screen now for anyone who is willing and able to make a statement of support today. We appreciate all of our financial supporters because you help make this possible. And finally, don't keep this to yourself. A bridge is only as effective as the places it reaches. Help us reach new places by sharing this experience with someone and showing them that there's life after uncertainty. Together, we can reach the world.
What an incredible weekend, right? Thank you so much for joining us for the Life's Big Question series. To our visitors, I hope we get a chance to welcome you again next weekend. The first time, you're a visitor. Your second visit, you're a guest. And if you come back a third time, you're as good as family. To our members, make sure to stay updated on events and activities by checking the Commons, the clubs, and the calendar of the Global Campus. That's all for today, Bridge City. Have a people-centric, forward-thinking kind of week. Until next time, keep rising and be the bridge.
Okay. I don't beg and I don't bow. I may bend, but I won't stay down. I'm standing tall, feet on the ground, up off my knees. I'm standing proud. I don't beg and I don't bow. I may bend, but I won't stay down. I'm standing tall, feet on the ground,
Up off my knees, I'm standing proud.
yeah,
And everybody knows that I'm proud.
yeah.
You see it when you're looking at my smile.
That's how.
I rock it like it's going out of style. 'Cause I'm proud, and I'm proud. And everybody knows that I'm proud. You see me when you're looking at my smile. I rock it like it's going out of style. 'Cause I'm proud.
So I don't beg and I don't bow. I may bend, but I won't stay down. I'm standing tall, feet on the ground, up off my knees. I'm standing proud. I don't beg and I don't bow. I may bend, but I won't stay down. I'm standing tall, feet on the ground, up off my knees. I'm standing proud.
And everybody knows that I'm proud.
Yeah.
You see it when you're looking at my smile. I'm rocking like it's going out of style. 'Cause I'm proud. 'Cause I'm proud. And everybody knows that I'm proud. You see it when you're looking at my smile. I rock it like it's going out of style.
I don't beg and I don't bow. I may bend, but I won't stay down. I'm standing tall, feet on the ground, up off my knees. I'm standing proud. I don't beg and I don't bow. I may bend, but I won't stay down. I'm standing tall, feet on the ground, up off my knees. I'm standing proud.
I don't beg and I don't bow. I may bend, but I won't stay down. I'm standing tall, feet on the ground, up off my knees. I'm standing proud.
Up off my knees.
I'm standing proud.
Up off my knees, I'm standing proud.
And everybody knows that I'm proud.
I'm proud.
You see it when you're looking at my smile.
When I
I
smile,
rock it like it's going out of style. 'Cause I'm proud. 'Cause I'm proud. And everybody knows that I'm proud. You see it when you're looking at my smile. I rock it like it's going out of style. 'Cause I'm proud.
I don't beg and I don't bow. I may bend, but I won't stay down. Standing tall, feet on the ground, up off my knees. I'm standing proud. I'm standing proud. I'm standing proud.
Okay.
Okay, ha.